This past Christmas, my wife asked for one thing: landscape lighting installed on the front of our house. Being the third place trophy husband that I am, I happily obliged. Unfortunately, the ground has been frozen and covered with snow the weeks and months following the holidays. Luckily for me, my wife is a patient and forgiving ruler of our kingdom. I'm just a simple peasant that she lets touch her butt every so often. Now that the ground is thawed, it's time to put my electrician hat on and get to wiring some shit up. I'm digging out each side of the sidewalk to get deep enough to install a conduit under the concrete. I'm using a 4-foot galvanized steel pipe as a guide for the wiring. I got the idea from watching a 10-minute YouTube video. Although, don't get it twisted, I'm already well versed in the art of laying pipe. As with most of my projects, things didn't go as planned. The pipe didn't exactly stay on course, and the cap that I screwed onto the end came off somewhere underneath my sidewalk. This caused the whole pipe to be clogged with dirt, which really renders it useless as a conduit. So I went with plan B, which I came up with on the spot. Pull out the pipe and push the wire through the void left behind. Fucking genius. I am a fucking genius. It actually worked out great. I'm just hoping my sidewalk doesn't crack with the lack of support underneath, which may upset my wife and affect my butt touching opportunities. Got the wire to the other side. Now it's time to lay out a run from the transformer to the first set of floodlights. Pay no attention to how shitty my garden looks. I planted a whole bunch of new perennials in the fall, and the deer ate the fucking shit out of them all winter. Anyway, I got the first set of floodlights installed and tested. Phase 1 complete. Unfortunately, I had to dig up this Nandina that I had just planted, and the only fucking thing the deer didn't devour, in order to make room for the next set of floodlights. If you haven't noticed, I'm a little bitter about my garden. Deer resistant my ass. Such a majestic animal, eating up all your shit, then leaving piles of shit all over your yard. Alright, I'm done ranting about deer. Back to work.
A little knot here. Working that.
I learned how to use a blade and a clink. What could be in the box? If you guessed a floodlight, you'd be correct. If it appears as if I know what I'm doing, you'd be incorrect. I just cut out all the times I fucked up to give the appearance of competence. It may look like I'm unwrapping a delicious hoagie, but it's actually a floodlight. If you were to ask 15-year-old me what a floodlight is, I'd likely respond with the apparatus mounted to the front of a UDPD police car that they shine on me and my degenerate friends when we're up to our shenanigans. Not a fancy light used for fancy uplighting on your fancy house. Well, both answers are correct. I managed to not slice my hand open this entire project. That was a win. I'm using these wire nuts with the dielectric splooge inside, which protects the wiring from the elements. What I'm doing here is connecting the wiring from the lights to the wiring that'll be buried and tied into the transformer. Gooey. I'm using these landscape staples to secure the cables underground. There's probably a much better method of doing this, but YOLO, as the children say. No cap, skibbity toilet riz. Things are getting a little more complex now that I have to daisy chain the lights together. I'm using these extra large, or magnum, if you will, dielectric splooge johns to compensate for the extra wiring. Some little dirt here, couple leaves, little dirt there. Tamp, tamp, tamp. Phase 2 is now complete. The path lights and floodlights are installed, and all wiring is buried and terminating at the transformer, ready to be tied in. In order to make this work, I had to tie one run from the lights together and the second run also together, and make sure they all stay together in the same line. Got it? Now it's time to tie it all into the transformer. One run into one of the inputs, and the other into the other input. And now for the moment of truth. Holy fucking shit, it works. Floodlights are on. Pathway lights are on. I'm just as surprised as you are. Boom. Done. Beautiful.